they gave us, and it makes me angry. Okay, it should not be justified. The Democratic Party lost because they deserve to lose. They did not make a case to the American people as to why they would be fundamentally better than Donald Trump policy-wise. That's the issue. That's what makes me angry.
In the old days, the right-wing reaction to that on Twitter would have been like, get out of here, you no way, you stinking Muslim, this, that, the other thing, right? Overwhelming positive reaction this time. The right-wing populists are different than you think they are. Okay, so they all came in and was like, that sounds pretty good. We know Cenk doesn't like Trump, but we also know he'd love to cut the Pentagon, and I bet he'd do it, right? You want somebody to cut the Pentagon, I'm your guy. So if you say to me, well, would you go in and work with Donald Trump, even though you've said these terrible things about him, and Elon Musk, and you've said questionable things about him, in order to do the thing that you've always wanted to do for these last several decades? Yeah. Okay, is that complicated? You're gonna let me do the thing that I've been dying to do for 2 decades?
Guys, I'm not even kidding, but Cenk Uygur, yes, Chunky Chunk, by the way, comment Chunky Yogurt for the algorithm. He's actually talking about working with Trump and Elon Musk in the Trump administration. Who would have thought? We thought Anna Kasparian was like the soon-to-be red-pilled queen of the Young Turks, but Cenk is honestly kind of rapidly moving towards this side as well. It's kind of mind-boggling stuff, guys. I'm shocked to see this. By the way, make sure you subscribe. I post 2 new videos every single day. Like this video, it helps boost in the algorithm, and let's just start. So what was interesting is Cenk actually put out a series of tweets where he talks about how Democrats are no longer the tolerant party, and it's actually Republicans now. I will just read you exactly what he said. When I became a Democrat, it was the more tolerant party. Republicans were run by religious nutjobs and corporate robots. Now, the Democrats are in a lot of ways the less tolerant party, which is something that we've known for a while, guys, obviously. The least tolerant part is actually the establishment wing of the party that says anyone opposing their anointed leaders is committing heresy. If you try to give constructive criticism of the party to improve it, they drive you from the party while screaming, he's not a real Democrat. They hate populists. They have become the corporate robots I couldn't stand. They hate their base. They insult our intelligence by pretending that the donors are not in charge. They think we should be controlled and learn how to follow orders, and they have no idea how elitist they sound. Predictably, their unironic reaction to this post will be heretic. I mean, I'm loving to see this. It's true, and it shows that Cenk Uygur has the ability to be honest even when it's tough, because I will admit, like, it's tough being like associated with a certain political party and then criticizing them. That's something I do a lot on X, and I create a lot of conflict and drama for myself because you're not allowed to say these certain things, and the Democrats have their own kind of issues that they have to work out. So I really do commend Cenk or Chunky Yogurt to come out and say this, and this is something Anna Kasparian talks a lot about too. This is why she pretty much has left the left. So now what's interesting, and kind of a part of the intro to this in this video where he talks about how he might be working with Trump and Elon, Cenk also put out a tweet where he said, I asked Elon Musk to put me in charge of cutting the Pentagon. And he said, what are your suggestions? I run the largest left-wing network online, and a Democratic leader has never asked me that question. The idea that they would take advice from a populist is disdainful to them. And then he went on to say, and look at 63,000 likes. And then he also said here, now which side seems more open and inclusive? Which side seems more welcoming, and which side tries really hard to drive you away if you would disagree with them, even just a little with orthodoxy? Sorry, I can't read, I'm a woman. Give me some grace here, guys. Which side is asking for suggestions and which one is demanding compliance and obedience? This is very interesting and so true. Republicans are welcoming to everyone. I mean, just remember, Trump literally appointed Tulsi Gabbard to be the director of national intelligence, which has to do with all things foreign affairs, which is amazing because we, at least myself, like something that Cenk and Trump agree on is they don't want wars. They're sick of the endless wars. Like, let's put this country first and not all the other countries, right? Tulsi being a former Democrat. Remember, a former Democrat is now in the Trump administration. So that's incredible. And also think about Robert or RFK. He's now part of the administration too, even though he was running as a Democrat. Like, think about these things. This is truly remarkable stuff that you would never see the Democrats do. I mean, Democrats are like welcoming in, like Kamala welcomed in Liz Cheney, a warmongering hoe, or wannabe hoe. She's too ugly to be a hoe. She was like so happy that she endorsed her. It's like, oh my gosh, remember when Democrats used to not want to be involved in wars? So this is where like the left wing and like right wing people, like populists, can agree on, because we want to prioritize the American people. I just did a video about how AOC asked her voters why there were a bunch of people that voted for AOC or Democratic down the ticket, but then also voted for Trump. And it's because people are becoming more populist. They're sick of the elites telling us what we can and cannot do. They are sick of the wars. They want to be prioritized. And I think that should be like the basic job description for anyone who is a public official for America. Like, America first, is that too crazy? But anyways, let's get into the actual meat of the video, and I just want to give you guys some context. Cenk and Anna Kasparian are pretty outraged at the Democratic Party as a whole. They lied to the American people that they served like no reason for why Kamala should win, and so it's not a shock that Trump beat her easily. And this one video is they're reacting to Morning Joe, who him and his wife are on like the Morning Joe show, like Joe Scarborough, Mika, whatever. They always are calling Trump literally Hitler for years, saying he's evil, a fascist dictator, Hitler, whatever. And now after Trump won, they actually had dinner with him at Mar-a-Lago and now are trying to make peace with him. So that's what this like entire thing is all about. But let's just get straight into it because it's pretty interesting. We're living, I mean, the fact that a major, like an MSDNC, I can't say the real word, like the real title because it's just MSDNC, but the fact that they met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago is pretty crazy. I really do think we're seeing a major like change in this country. Let's just start here.
Look, you know how I felt about the fear mongering that was taking place among Democrats and, you know, their mouthpieces in cable news. Just lean into fear, scare the bejesus out of American voters about Trump. He's Hitler, he's a fascist, he's gonna come for you, he's gonna put us in internment camps. Not only does this totally deteriorate trust in the media, but even worse, look, we oftentimes talk about right-wingers who use violent rhetoric that could inspire people who are not all there, right? People who might have some mental issues, mental illnesses, to carry out acts of violence. So how is it any different when Democrats do it? It's not okay. Like calling him Hitler and like talking about like how he's gonna put people, you know, in internment camps or he would like to line people up and shoot them.
Yeah. So look, you know where I drew the line. I drew the line between fascist and Nazi and Hitler, right? So I never said Nazi or Hitler because the Nazis killed 13 million people and had gas chambers, and Hitler drove that.
I mean, the idea that people would literally compare Trump to Hitler is insane, and that's like the big criticism that Joe Scarborough and his wife are getting is you guys literally perpetuated this like fear, that they were fear mongering their audience, saying that Trump is literally Hitler, and then all of a sudden he wins and now they're gonna get dinner at Hitler's house with him. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We know that you're a bunch of liars.
And as you know, we talked about on this show many times, fascist is one of those words that people put meaning into, but I used it because I don't know what else to use for a guy who says, I don't care if I lost the election, I want to stay in, I want to use fake electors, I want to steal the election. And by the way, if they say hang Mike Pence, I don't mind so much. Those things happen, I'm never taking it back, okay? I'm not in these guys in the ring kissing business, okay? So those, in my opinion, were fascist tendencies. Now, having said that, I didn't think he was Hitler killing people up against the wall. They did. Joe Scarborough did. So were you worried when you went to Mar-a-Lago instead of getting some English muffins and orange juice that he was going to line you up against the wall and execute you? No, you weren't, were you? So was he Hitler or wasn't he?
Great question, Cenk. Great question, Chunky Yogurt. By the way, if you guys like videos like this, make sure you subscribe. Most of the people that watch my videos don't even subscribe, and I post 2 new videos every single day. So make sure you do that, and we'll get back to it.
Still to this day, I'm worried that he's not going to leave, or that the next guy, or JD Vance or whatever, is not going to leave because he already did it once. I have empirical evidence about his wrongdoing, and I'm never going to change my mind on it. But these guys, man, just like that, Hitler. You went to have breakfast with Hitler? That is amazing. Okay,
it's so laughable.
Now let's talk about how do you work within this situation.
Just point out, look, for me,
Just skipping forward a little bit, guys, because I want to keep, like, this is kind of a longer video, not too much longer, but I want to make sure that I'm not wasting any of your time, so.
Yes, it is annoying when the critique is only focused on one side, but that is not my main issue here. My main issue is that the Democratic Party, with the help of media figures like Mika Brzezinski and Morning Joe, thought it was totally fine to offer their base nothing to vote for. And instead, just lean into the fear mongering. Fear, 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 be scared, be scared, be scared. That was it, that was all they gave us. And it makes me angry. Okay, it should not be justified. The Democratic Party lost because they deserve to lose. They did not make a case to the American people as to why they would be fundamentally better than Donald Trump policy-wise. That's the issue. That's what makes me angry. It's just pathetic.
Okay, you know
Take some personal responsibility, Democrats, for once in your lives. Take personal responsibility. If you offer nothing to the electorate, they're not going to vote you in. That's the way it works.
Damn, Anna is just going after the Democratic Party, the rat party. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. It's despicable how low they think of their own voters. And I get it. Are Democrats the smartest people ever? No, but I think they're very brainwashed and manipulated. And a lot of people don't have all the time in the day to like constantly read up on politics and like seek, you know, different or more fringe opinions and facts and whatever. So, you know, it's okay. Most people are like default Democrats, so.
The people I blamed were Kamala Harris and Joe Biden because I'm pretty sure they were in charge, and I blame Democratic Party leaders who constantly lose to Donald Trump. Wow, but that's like shocking like idea in the Democratic Party. Blaming the leaders who actually lost? No, we have to protect them. Anyway, back to me. Okay, let's focus on me, okay? Let's keep it.
And here, Cenk talks about the tweets that I actually read for you guys at the beginning of this episode that sparked some controversy online, to say the least. But let's see what Chunky has to say about it. By the way, like this video, please, right now, if you haven't already. It really helps boost my video in the algorithm because YouTube likes to censor people like me who speak the truth. So I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, I read the comments. I respond to a lot of comments. Look at my past videos. I really do. And if you definitely want me to reply to your comment, if you leave a little super chat, that really helps support me, and I will definitely respond. But let's just get back to it, Chunky Yogurt style.
For me, I wrote on social media over the weekend, I said, look, if you really want to cut the government, I'm here for it, right? So how? The Pentagon never passes an audit, says they can't find $400 billion. I'll find it and give it back to the American people. So you actually want to cut the government by $2 trillion, Elon Musk and Donald Trump? I'll take care of 20% overnight. Okay, and by the way, guys, this is really important. In the old days, the right-wing reaction to that on Twitter would have been like, get out of here, you no way, you stinking Muslim, this, that, the other thing, right? Overwhelming positive reaction this time.
And that's because the right-wing movement, they're like realizing that so many people are brainwashed from the left and the elitists in this country that we need to be more accepting and welcoming to these people, even though I can sometimes be a critic of that mentality, but it is cool. Because imagine if we can actually keep winning elections and make America great again. That'd be kind of cool. It would be.
There's the right-wing populists.
By the way, if you agree, comment MAGA, the American flag. It helps the algorithm, of course.
Different than you think they are, okay? So they all came in and was like, that sounds pretty good. We know Cenk doesn't like Trump, but we also know he'd love to cut the Pentagon, and I bet he'd do it, right? You want somebody to cut the Pentagon, I'm your guy. Okay.
Yeah, and let's be real, like, I want the Pentagon to be cut too. So this idea that you can't work with people because they don't agree with you on every single issue makes no sense. Because put your own personal beliefs and quarrels, keep it to yourself, bitches, okay? Little woke snowflakes. How about if you really want a policy to happen and change in this nation, you have to be willing to work with the other side. Not saying that you need to make all of these compromises, but if your goal is to cut the Pentagon, then it makes sense for Cenk to work with the Trump administration. If he can actually get it done via the Trump administration, because no Democratic administration would ever give him the time of day, let me just predict that the Young Turks will eventually become a freaking right-wing network. Imagine that. I would not be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just failed their 7th audit in a row.
Yeah, so if you say to me, well, would you go in and work with Donald Trump, even though you've said these terrible things about him, and Elon Musk, and you've said questionable things about him, in order to do the thing that you've always wanted to do for these last several decades? Yeah, Okay, is that complicated? You're gonna let me do the thing that I've been dying to do for 2 decades and actually bring hundreds of billions of dollars back to the American people? The #1 robbery is at the Pentagon because they say, oh, if you try to cut a single dime, you're gonna make everybody
unsafe.
National security's on the line. Where you're gonna make them unsafe. Everybody's gonna die. So that's why they load it up with pork and more pork and wrap it in further pork, right?
Yep, precisely. I mean, come on. We are living in crazy times here in America, guys. We are having the young Turks, the young turds, as I call them, kind of being supportive of Trump and Elon Musk. It's pretty telling. I think that with how insane the left has gotten with their deceit, with their promotion of wars, with their elitism and just the bureaucracy, I really do believe that it's forcing progressives to become right-wingers. It's crazy. Who would have ever thought, but the pendulum is finally swinging in our direction. By the way, guys, if you're still watching this video, thank you so much. You guys help boost it in the algorithm for watching the whole thing. Comment an orange heart if you guys are still here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Chunky Yogurt's becoming full MAGA, bitches. Woo!